Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday, January 28th, 2024. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your weekly horoscope. So let's just do a little bit of business before we start. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology, and they're based on the Pacific time zone. So when I'm talking about a day or a time, it's based on that. So please adjust for your location. I wanted to offer this to you guys. For those of you that are familiar with your chart, you may want to look at it in Placidus. I have a late degree Aries rising, and that makes most of my first house Taurus. And I think that significantly shifts the way that I perceive the world and how I process my Aries energy, my Mars energy. So if you know your rising sign degree and it happens to be, mid to late, I would just check out the Placidus house system. I think that's very it offers a lot of detail and layers of the information. Good morning, Margie. Good morning, Catherine. I turned my phone all the way off, so if Small Wildflowers texted me to tell me she's not coming, I won't know it till after the show. But let's talk about some of the aspects going on this week, because I got to tell you, I've been trying to get ahead of the game and shooting some videos as we move into the spring, and this is such a groundbreaking time for us all. I mean, really, I feel like it's a fork in the road. And as we look at the planets and we start to talk to them in their highest vibration, the more that I study astrology, the more that I do charts myself, and the more I work with other people, I realize that, God gave us free will. Okay. Oh, there you are. Hi, honey. Sorry, I turned my phone off for you, so hopefully we'll get no dings. So God gave us free will, right? Or source energy, whoever's running the show, divine, wisdom, whatever. So in that free will and choice, don't all the planets, polarities, dark, light, etc., don't they offer us an opportunity which way we're going to turn our head, which way we're going to focus? Because, I call myself an intuitive astrologer, which is true, but I'm starting to feel like a revolutionary because I've been talking to Saturn a lot lately. I've got a lot of crap going on in the background of my life. And at the same time, all of that crap is like, it's like I'm fine tuning, or I'm sharpening my sword, my truth, and who I am and how I want to show up. And so I want to offer that to you because we're going to talk about Mars and Mercury this week. They're traveling together all week in Capricorn. Now, how could that play out? On a kind of darker side, we could say Mercury's going to be gathering all the information from the authorities in our lives, from the rules, the regulations, what's holding us back. Mars is ready to go to war in the neighborhood, thinking warring thoughts. We could say all that. We could think of, we're going to be depressed and resentful because we're in the sign of Capricorn, and there's Venus pulling up the backside, and she's all pent up there. I totally don't think that's what's happening. What I think is happening is as Mercury and Mars are going through Capricorn, and today they're at 18 degrees, the Virgo degree, the degree of slavery of my mind. What if that's about to liberate me? Because even though it's squaring the North Node and Chiron, I think this is where I start to think, how long am I going to sit on this problem of mine or this issue of mine, and whether it's true or false, whether it really happened or it didn't, where does my free will to turn my head in a new direction? That's what I think is happening. Venus right now is at 6 degrees Capricorn, and she is making a sextile to Saturn. And I believe that coming up in March, as Venus moves into Pisces, I've been calling it a summit between Venus and Saturn, creating sustainability, using my skills, being aware of my voice and my confidence, and knowing that my confidence isn't going to be sitting at some flat, but ebb and flow as I walk through greater levels of my own awareness of what's important to me and what I want to build on in this life. So I think this is really important. And being aware of Mercury and Mars's conversation as they travel gives you an opportunity to decipher the information, to look at what's coming at us. The United States is starting an election year, you know. I have to laugh because when I think about like that Jupiter Uranus conjunction coming up, oh God, we only know what could possibly happen. But I want to say it this way because as Venus is in a sextile to Saturn, Saturn is in a sextile to Jupiter. And so Venus is in a trine. All of this energy makes me feel as if I'm looking at my skills, I'm looking at my confidence level, I'm looking at my self-worth, I'm looking at my voice, Venus. I'm looking at Pisces and, how do I build structure, Saturn? And how do I do it in a way that connects me to the divine versus just the physical? Because with Jupiter's influence with Saturn, this is a double divine influence. Jupiter co-ruled Pisces. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules higher consciousness, the connection to the angelic realm. So I think this is super powerful and setting up what's going to take place as we move further and further into 2024. On the 30th, we see Mercury and Mars making a trine to Uranus, who has gone direct, kind of hanging out at the 19 degrees of Taurus, which is that Libran degree. So how do I create harmony for myself? How do I create a sense of peace? Where do I overly compromise, and where do I sit back and maybe I'm not compromising enough? It could be that way, especially with Mercury and Mars going through Capricorn. You could be stuck in the way you're thinking. On the 31st, we see the moon conjunct the south node in Libra at 17 degrees. And I think this is powerful because I think this is a day of emotional reflection, of how do I care for myself? How do I demonstrate my own peace of mind, my own self-worth while I am interacting with others, when I'm in professional partnerships, it's so unfair to just throw Libra into marriage partnerships because there's so much more in that house. And I'm a Libra sun and I never got married. So I know there's a lot that my soul is working through in the way of diplomacy and balance and creating harmony and peace, not only for myself, but in my interactions with others. So I think this is what's coming in play on the day of the 31st, because as the moon becomes aware of its habitual patterns with the south node, and then it's in an opposition to the north node in the sign of self. And Chiron has been transiting through that. So how am I allowing myself to transform the darkness in my life to light, or to see how sometimes the dark spots are the compelling spots that move us into a new direction with more intention and more focus and more drive? I think this is really powerful. And I want to offer this because I spoke a moment ago about having Venus having a sextile to Saturn, and Saturn having a sextile to Jupiter. Jupiter also rules business, publishing, influencing, meaning influencers on the internet, marketing, branding. And I feel like many of us who have a side hustle, or that have maybe been working on our own personal expression, our YouTube channels, our TikTok channels, we could see a lot of growth and expansion as we allow ourselves to capitalize on our own personal perceptions. I absolutely think that as Pluto's moved into Aquarius, more and more people are going to be responding to the uniqueness of a person, the authenticity of a person, the willingness to sort of be raw and open. And that's going to be very relatable and in a way that starts to be revered and cherished and inspiring. So I think that that's the kind of the key things that are going on. We're going to end the week with Mercury finishing up its journey through Capricorn at 29 degrees. We're going to see Mars at 23 degrees and Venus at 19 degrees of Capricorn. This will all be sextiling Neptune in Pisces. I believe that Saturn and Neptune, obviously, but this whole feeling of Jupiter sextiling the house of Pisces right now and Saturn. This is about building a strong sense of connection with your inner truth, your inner power, your intention, your focus, and trusting your powers of co-creation. And as you test the waters through this beginning part of the year, or let's say this, capitalize on the waters you've already been testing, you're going to feel such a strength that it will start to represent for those that are still sitting under the veil. So I think this is really powerful moving forward. Okay. Let's start with our readings. We're going to start with Aquarius because it's Aquarius season, and then we will move our way around the zodiac. Pardon my glasses. I'm still embarrassed to say the Christmas tree is hiding in the corner, trying to get down. I've been so busy storming the castle, doing my videos, seeing my clients, that Christmas is just lurking in the background everywhere. I can't get it all put away. All right, Aquarius. Oh, this is a lovely energy. We start with the energy of temperance. You know, when we look at this card, we see that Archangel Gabriel, the eyes are closed. We see the feet are not flat on the ground. They're not at all stable. And yet we see flow going through the cups. This is a trust. The balance does not come from standing on the earth. The balance comes from your connection to your divine, to your own, I absolutely believe that Teri Hunter is not encased in this physical apparatus, but just a fraction of me is. And a larger part of me sits outside of myself, that inner knowing. Temperance can represent that inner knowing. And as we sort of relax ourselves and allow our mind to serve as a tool of awareness, that flow comes from a sense of imbalance. It literally is an ebb and a flow. So I think that's going to be really powerful. And I want to offer this because as Pluto moves into Aquarius, sometimes I feel like astrologers are a little scary because they'll talk about all the dark sides of Pluto and how horrific it can be and how, oh no, death, But Pluto rules billionaires. Pluto rules a transformation that almost becomes so raw and so to the depths of our soul, ground zero, that we have nowhere else to go but to claim ourselves. And that isn't Pluto's fault. That's our resistance. That's our fear that if we step too far outside the box, we will be annihilated by the masses. And I think that this is an opportunity for my Aquarius rising moon, sun, and stelliums to actually feel this sense of balance through this back and forth energy of knowing that when something is sort of what may feel off kilter, it has a piece of information to give us. I don't know quite how to word it any more succinctly. All right, let's go on to our angels, see what they have to say. And you know what part of that may be is, so we see Pluto's in your first house. We take Pisces as your second house. So we have Saturn going through there. And we have Capricorn being your 12th house. So there could be, with that Mars and that Mercury in your 12th house, the potential that your mind is sort of drifting back into old stories, stories that where you have not been given a fair shake. Mars in its challenging energies can be extremely resentful. And Mars can be right, but Mars shows up in a way that people don't respond to. And that's what Mars has been addressing over the last couple of years, as it spent 7 months in 2022 and 2023 in Gemini, being aware of its mind. Okay, here we go. Aquarius, our first angel is Layla. The second is Indriel. The third is Sonia. And the final is Azure. Welcome, Queen Leo. Welcome, everybody. Did I say hi? Hi, Taylor. Hi, Catherine. I said hi to Margie, I think. Hi, Lucy Rose. Good to see you. Jenny G, are you? Oh, hi, Jenny G. Good to see you. Okay, here we go. Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Layla is being joined by the Raven. Indriel is being joined by Merlin. Sonia is being joined by the horse. And Azure is being joined by the serpent. Okay, so this feels a little bit as if you are being called. When I think about the sign of Aquarius, I think there's a natural warrior in the sign of Aquarius. It represents liberation and revolution. And what does that do? It rebels against whatever is repressing it. So I feel like you're in a stage right now where there is the potentials that you're in a pause. Your actual taking action forward is not going to serve you. So this week, while Mercury and Mars are conjunct in Capricorn in your 12th house, and they're squaring the North Node in Aries, this might be a time when you just sit back and you start to really concentrate on your intentions, on the outcome you want, because this is a matter of timing. And sometimes, when we're co-creating, we only have so much influence on the timing of things. We have to sort of give up once we've passed the baton on to another thing. I have been going through what I call storming the castle now. And as I'm storming the castle, I've got to go through processes that I can't move the story forward any quicker. So this is where I go into meditation and I start to tell Spirit, thank you for giving me the peace of mind necessary to stand in alignment to the deeper truth versus the ego truth. Here, Indriel is the light worker, and then we see Merlin offering justice, balance, and alchemy. This is coming. Whatever is going on, something is going to be coagulating together. And I want to offer it this way because one of the main themes that I think is going on that is so powerful is Saturn in Pisces is asking us how much we believe in our own spiritual philosophies, ideologies. Are we talking them or are we walking them? Because here Sonia is bringing up Sagittarian beliefs. Sonia is your team, and it's a little bit of time to sort of give it up. And when I say give it up, I'm not talking about giving up. I'm talking about passing the baton. It's like, I used to work with this guy, Ted, and I say the universe is conspiring for everything I want. And I used to laugh because I thought conspiring was such a sort of a menacing term. And yet at the same time, when somebody is creating a rebellion, they are conspiring to bring forth whatever they think is going to open up their world. Because Azure says for my Aquarius is that your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. And then there's the serpent, knowledge and healing. And I think this is more knowledge than it is healing. The knowledge that my intention, I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where the wife says, the man may be the head of the household, but the woman is the neck, and the neck turns the head. I feel like that's what Spirit is saying, that as you turn your attention to that which you want, Spirit is starting to move the components in to create that. And in the meantime, you get to work on your balance because you do rule the nervous system and you do rule, having Pluto moving into your first house could very well bring in this sense of eminent change, but the human will default to darkness in the change, not light. And this refers to light. Okay, let's go on to our Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh my goodness, Queen Leo, that's so bizarre. I'm sorry, I just pulled that out of like the comment that caught my eye. Oh my goodness. Sending light and love to you. That's all I can say. Okay. Here we go for our Pisces. Here's the Four of Pentacles. This is a card that is not filled with lack, but rather filled with a lack of trust. This is what I would call like a mid-level royal. It is in the sign, it's a cardinal earth. Cardinal Earth is Capricorn. This is a guy who's holding his resources in a very odd and awkward and actually very closed way. So he's clearly projecting something into the future that is not going to be beneficial. Let's look and see where we're going, because, I want to offer this. Saturn initially can have a very dampening feeling. I am not going to make Saturn suddenly a warm, fuzzy planet or an energy, but I am going to focus on the reward. I am going to focus on the idea that as Venus moves through Aquarius, and then when she moves into Pisces, she's going to have a very strong conversation with Saturn about building roots. And I feel like as Saturn is going through your first house, Pisces, this is really about kind of not holding on to things so tightly, but allowing almost an opening. Let's see what Spirit has to say a little deeper. Here we go. There's Layla again. We're going to spend time talking about what we want. There's Vanessa, faith over fear. There's Sonia in the same position in the angel's advice. And then we see Adriana. With Pisces being such a creative sign, and at the same time, a little bit of an escape artist, I'm saying that lovingly, but because they sometimes escape their greatness and their compassion for others. And I almost feel like if you have a stuck energy right now, and this may not have anything to do with money, it may have something to do with a history that Saturn's representing, or some sort of authority figure, or somebody that you feel dutiful towards, and then that Piscean empathy kind of kicks it into a higher gear. There may be something going on here where you representing an individuality gives you really an experience where you are being of greater service or more influential service, rather than trying to hold on to something too tight. Okay, Layla's being joined by the dog, which represents love and unconditional love at that. Vanessa as being joined by the ego. Sonia's being joined by the serpent. And Adriana's being joined by the owl. Okay, I want to offer this for my Pisces. You also have Neptune that's been going through your house, and both Neptune and Saturn can, on a challenging level, feel erosive, but it's not erosive. I don't think it is by nature. What I think it is Saturn is like a pause, stop, look, be more aware of where your Piscean energy is swimming. And with Neptune is like, what is your connection to the part of yourself that sits in constant motion? Okay, the ocean is in constant motion. It does not sit still. It may look calm, but it is never still. So what I feel like for my Pisces is somewhere your dreams, the things you want. I don't know if I think this is about money. It feels more like it's about material things, like a bigger picture, about the things that you love. I don't even think this is about relationships. I think this is about Saturn asking you to build some sustainability in your first house as it traverses for the next year and a half, 2 years. And the sustainability is what you love, and being loyal to your version of what you want. Because faith and the ego card are absolutely like, they're a bit of a conflicting energy. The human ego is where we edge God out, where we forget that we are divine beings, that we are co-creators. And Vanessa's saying, no, remember that you're a co-creator, because when you're a co-creator, that's where you start to feel the truth of who you are, and things start to come to you in ways that you didn't imagine. So here we see Sonia again. This is your team, your heavenly team, your guides, your hosts. You can even call it your source energy. And here's knowledge. And I think that knowledge brings in balance, because Adriana is leading you to the answers to your prayers. And you're also learning something about contrast. And I want to offer this because contrast is when we go through an experience where we recognize on some level that we are not trained to live in the present moment, but we are constantly projecting into the future. Every piece of marketing that we have, everything that the kind of media input we have is telling us what's going to happen in the future. So we tend to worry about the future instead of trusting our co-creation to make that future. So I feel like this is a real opportunity for you to connect at a deeper level with your source energy and start to ask them for experiences that help anchor in the wisdom of the flow of the human experience. It's like hormones. There's no real way to create a complete safe environment. Okay, meaning you can have all the money in the world, you can build all the compounds out of cement to try to protect yourself, and the human experience is meant to be contrasting. Fear is meant to be empowering. Fear is meant to give you a sense of achievement. All right, here we go. On to our Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Justice, thank you so much for this card. This is my rising sign, and I want justice. I can't begin to tell you. There's also a Libran flare here. So we see the scales of justice, and we see, which I think is so powerful, is that sword. That sword represents the sword of the mind. Okay. And it's large in this particular photo. And it's interesting because it's sort of, I keep putting it down, it melds into that pillar, right? And I think it's because justice comes from our mind, meaning this. Justice doesn't come from our mind, but our mind creates a dynamic that allows us to be aware of the ebb and the flow between our intention to put something into play and then how the human experience tries to train the mind in some ways. And this what might feel like a little bit of justice. When I look at this backdrop, we see this really strong purple cloth. Third eye, absolutely. We see this crown with this jewel on the third eye. There's something very powerful about being aware of the mind, not trying to control the mind, and understanding the ebb and the flow of the mind. And that justice, literally justice is going to come. I wake up in the middle of the night with the weirdest things going on in my head. And I realized that as Pluto moved into Aquarius, it was like making favorable aspect to my south node at 3 degrees of Aries and making a sextile to my Jupiter that's at 2 degrees of Sagittarius. And I'm like, I think I like the way that sounds. Maybe Pluto's going to unearth the boogeyman or the dirt or the darkness or the imbalance. Whoa. And Athena just flew out of the deck. So let's look at this, Aries. It's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself. Okay, this is what Mars has been learning. How to lovingly be a hero, not to dumb down Mars's sword, but to be more effectual with the sword of truth, the sword of justice. We have Athena being joined by Xana, the angel of protection. We have Vanessa, which is again about faith over fear, and Archangel Raphael is bringing a healing. Now, as I've done this work, I got to tell you, I don't like the word healing anymore because I feel like it infers that we're broken. We are not broken. We are in contrast. So when we become aware of the contrast, it gives us another choice. So I like to think of us as being rather than being broken or needing healing, I think of it as balance. It's just balance. All right, Aries. Athena is being joined by the Focus card. Xana is being joined by the Baird. Vanessa is being joined by the Rebirth card. And then we have the Deer. Okay. For my Aries, you've had a lot of energy going on. Imperfectly perfect. I love that. I always say I'm fabulously flawed. That's how I like to put it. Good morning, Betty. Did I miss any bus? Hi, Matt. Welcome to the room. Hi, Scardell. Hope I said hi to everybody. Okay, Aries. I want to offer this because, having Pluto squaring your first house, for forever was not easy. But at the same time, Pluto is your companion, your compadre, your co-lord of Scorpio. So I really believe that what's been going on is sort of this awareness of how I want to show up, that hero energy, that pioneering energy, the competitor that wins but plays in a way that can appreciate his opponent. Now, as we feel this energy of Pluto moving into Aquarius. This is a time to capitalize on the information that was garnished. So now, in the past, you just asserted yourself. I'm just going to kick your ass. That's what Aries would say. But now Aries is going to say, I'm going to lovingly kick your ass. And I'm going to know what my focus is. My focus is on justice. And at that point, this is where Aries says to themselves, do I want to be heard, or do I just want to barf my whatever, my anger, my frustration? Now it's different. Now Aries is like, you know what? I want not only to be heard, I want to decide who hears me. Because when I look at the bear, yes, it refers to history, but it's also the enchantment of storytelling. And here's the protection card. And it makes me feel as if there is this Aries part of them that's aware of how they're communicating now, how they're, like maybe with some people, they'll just whip out their sword and, whoosh, I don't care about you. But with other people, they may be more, I don't want to dumb down the authenticity of the Aries energy, but it feels as if I've learned how to use that energy much more efficiently. Justice, Libra, fairness, balance, peace, creating peace. Here's Vanessa in the Angel's Advice. You've had faith in yourself, and now you're having a rebirth. That's what I think that Pluto squaring the cardinals, Libra and Aries, and then opposing Cancer was really this unearthing of a deeper psychology. While Aries represents the self, being too hot and angry, no matter how right you are, never gets anybody on your team. Okay. So here you've learned how to be gentle and diplomatic. And this is bringing this epiphany is here. And yes, we're still practicing it. I got to say, I have warrior thoughts in my head all the time. And now I'm constantly saying, but if I give into that warrior thought, will it serve the deeper purpose or the long-term gain? And I'm telling you, for 4 months, maybe 5 months, I have been a ball of adrenaline and exhaustion. I'm not nervous, but I feel like I'm in a space where I must be alert, because there's things that are coming at me, and they're not coming at me to pull me under, Aries rising. They're coming at me so that I can be a Navy SEAL. I can be, a high ranking military type of energy, but for the truth, the justice, for the hero energy, instead of just the kukla energy of Aries. I say that lovingly. All right, let's go on to our Tauruses. Big conjunction coming up in your first house, and we are preparing right now for it. So awareness is super powerful. Oh, so enhanced. I can't even begin I almost feel like my brain, I can't even really enjoy television lately. And I love television. I'm sorry, I do, but I've been so with that adrenaline exhaustion that the minute nighttime comes, I start to listen to ohms and chants, because it's the only thing I can do is like sit on my couch and rock back and forth. All right, Taurus. The Chariot. Victory and home victory. Victory over polarities. This is a really powerful energy, the Charioteer, because there's movement without movement. He has a cement chariot. Logic dictates that thing is going nowhere. And at the same time, when we look at the card, his armor is the moons. His crown is the stars. The canopy is the stars. This is a card that represents the polarities of life. It represents our intuition. It literally, the cement chariot blocks the last 2 chakras of his body, meaning the sacral chakra and the base chakra, because he's pulling up. His power comes through his awareness of the intuitive body, the emotional body, and the idea that we are naturally receptors. This is why I'm such a fan of the Shapley cluster and why this feels like a confirmation, not only scientifically, but astrologically, that we are an attracting universe. And as we focus on that and we use our mercurial energy and our Uranian energy, we become more victorious over what appears to be light and dark. So let's look, Taurus, what's going on here, because something's happening that you don't know about. Now, I want to kind of focus on the idea that, often when we talk about Jupiter, we talk about foreign people, foreign places, PhDs, masters, but it also rules business and commerce. It rules branding, marketing, publishing. It rules the Supreme Court. It rules the connection to the angelic realm. So there's a lot here, because I think with Taurus being a natural builder, whoa, I did it again. Keep dropping cards. I'm sorry. And I just have to take them when I drop them. Maya is about schooling and education. And this is probably more about your education of your inner knowing than it is about what you see with your eyes. One of the things about me being a Taurus moon with my South Node in the 12th house of Aries is that I can feel right about something. I can feel my hero energy, and yet it's not seen by other people. And it's been a source of frustration. And so I can get really fired up when I feel invisible. And so I feel like what's happening here is you're not only getting an education on your intuition, it's also getting an education on how you perceive your own value in relation to how others categorize you, pigeonhole you, put you in a box. Taurus, our second angel is Azure, saying your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith. Then we have the victory in the form of Omega. Love that. And Archangel Michael offering you courage. The Chariot is a card of victory as well. Absolutely. It was the first thing I ever learned about the Chariot, was that it was victory. And of course, it rules the sign of Cancer. So it rules the sign of home, of hearth, of self-nurturing, of intuition, of the maternal. Maya is being joined by the restriction card. Oh, interesting. Azure is being joined by the dragon. Omega is being joined by the love card. And Archangel Michael's being joined by the cow. Okay, Taurus, I want to offer this because depending, if you have personal planets in Taurus, besides your rising, your moon, or your sun, this would be powerful. And I also said at the beginning of the video, while these are based on whole sign Western astrology, if you know your chart and you are a mid to late degree, let's say 20 to 29 degree Taurus rising, that's going to put a majority of your first house in the Gemini energy. So you'll have Taurus and Gemini there, and it'll put part of your first house in the 12th house. So this is powerful in how you feel seen and how you feel an ability to assert yourself, because this restriction card is really about, if you think about it, the charioteer is moving forward, but not physically. It's emotionally, spiritually, mentally moving forward. And sometimes the earth signs want to take action, plow the fields in order to feel like they got something done. So your power and strength lies in your ability to be calm, cool, and collected, as Azure tells you that your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. And I want to kind of throw this in, because if you're a Taurus and you're creating something literally like a creative baby, trying to just sit down and write every day or something to that effect, you could be trying too hard and you're actually stopping the creative process, because your victory comes in the form of ease and love and trusting your own energy. Your ruling planet is going through Capricorn right now. And for some reason, when I was doing the March videos this week, I kept feeling like Venus, when she got into Capricorn, is starting to think about, how do I build on my skills? How do I use my personal talents to create resources and money and things and do things that I love to do? And it isn't easy for Taurus, because Taurus likes to sort of trust the path, move a little slowly. There's a feeling of, it's the beasts of Taurus rules the beasts. And I think of the beasts, arduously pulling a cart. This is now where your movement comes from actually no movement, but rather assessing your skills, thinking about what it would be like if you were able to, use your astrology every day. When would you get up in the morning? When would you work out? When would you do your work? Because here, Archangel Michael is offering Taurus new abundance, and this could be really powerful when Uranus and Jupiter come together. You could see a pop on your internet stuff, your Etsy account, your YouTube channel. This is asking and receiving an abundance. The cow gives. It's also a Taurus energy. It's a beast of burden. And here we have Archangel Michael, not only representing protection, but also the courage to make changes. And the changes are not physical changes. They're spiritual and emotional changes that trusts a bigger picture of what's going on that you can't see with your eyes. Okay. I like all that because it's directly related to me. And I think this might be a big week. I'm not sure. The wheels of justice move oh so slowly. I want to offer this because I really believe that as Jupiter moves into Gemini, and it'll only be there about a year, but there's something's going to pop because as Pluto's in Aquarius, technology, something's going to boom, or something's going to start to lay the groundwork. Back in the 90s, when cell phones first came out, they were like this big. Okay, they looked like something out of Get Smart, and within a couple of years, everything started to shrink a little bit. Everybody started to carry a cell phone. And I think that's what we're going to see. So there could be new platforms. There could be new opportunities that we can't even imagine just yet that will offer side hustles, or even side hustles that grow into full-time jobs that bring abundance. So I think this is very exciting. All right, let's go into our Geminis, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. We have the Hierophant. This is a fabulous. It's it's like a Sagittarian sort of Taurian energy, because when I look at the Hierophant, there's a religious feeling to it. There's a feeling of ideologies and philosophies, but there's also these little Taurus bulls in there. Okay. So the little Taurus bulls represent that Taurian energy of building. It's also sort of a history energy. So for my Geminis, I want to offer this because we could be looking at what do you believe is possible? And I want to offer this because while I talk about the grand conjunction, which is very powerful, when Jupiter technically moves into Gemini, it will be in detriment, when you're in the opposing sign of your rulership. And yet at the same time, I think Jupiter has a little something to learn about the details of things, So here, Gemini naturally rules the details of things. So here is a commingling, an opportunity right now in a sort of Taurian fashion where I'm going to take my time and systematically set up what I want to move forward in the second half of this year. Because a lot of things that you may not be able to see with your eyes could be happening in the background. I've told you guys before that when I moved into Laguna, there was a huge disruption beforehand. I'd been living in North Carolina. I moved home. The moving van was stolen. Every single damn thing I had was gone. See ya, bye-bye, not to be ever recovered. And I felt like the lowest human ever. And at the same time, it made me so angry that that it happened, that I started to claim things in a bigger way. And I went to spirit first. I'm like, I'm sick of this. I want this. I want this. I want this. And then they made me get a job in a bakery, and getting the job in the bakery brought me to my apartment. And now I've been here 20 years. So something's going to shift for you. And I think it's going to be how you think, how you believe. I think you're going to have a broadening of, you may be, if you think about Gemini, and now I don't want to confuse everybody, but Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury. So Mercury has a tendency to want to plan, want to look ahead, want to budget. And you look at your budget and you're like, I can't afford this. I'm not talking to you, small wildflowers. But you can afford it, because when you go to spirit can bring things into your realm that you would never have thought you could do on your own. Let's see where we're going, Gemini. Athena, lovingly asserting yourself. Archangel Uriel, frustration. Vanessa, faith. And then Layla, telling spirit what you want. I will admit that my channel is growing and I'm promoting. I don't know what YouTube did. I used to buy ads and nothing happened. And now I promote something and overnight I get a lot more subscribers. And I'm excited for that because you know what? I just want to uplift everybody. I'm not looking to become rich off YouTube. Maybe rich of the heart. That I might be looking for. I want all of us to succeed in our own ways. I want us all to thrive beyond the odds, Well, let me offer you this. Why don't you because that 500 a month is going to trigger you in your head. It's going to tell you that that's hard to do. So why don't you reframe it and say, all right, Spirit, bring me all the resources to pay for all my bills, have some left over, and to feel a sense of flow, my little Gemini. Athena is being joined by the restriction card. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the focus card. Vanessa's being joined by the protection card. And Layla's being joined by the love card. All right, Gemini, here we go. This is all about, rather than focusing in on what holds you down, this is focusing on how it feels when you're sitting on the back side of that. So I'm just going to use Small as an example because she's looking for a new place. So we're going to say, oh my gosh, when Small finds a new place, she loves her bathroom. She walks in the bathroom. There's plenty of room to move around. It has like beautiful hardware. She's got a yard for animals. These are the kind of conversations you have with Spirit, okay? These are the kind of conversations that get you excited because when you start to have a conversation and then you feel yourself in fear, don't have that conversation anymore because this is about lovingly asserting yourself rather than holding yourself oppressed or holding yourself down. I will tell you that I have been I don't know if I have earth trines in my chart. And I lived in Santa Monica for 15 years under rent control, didn't pay more than $600 a month for 2-bedroom place. Here in Laguna, I have the same wonderfully under market rent. And while they just raised the rent, it is still, something that I believe Source will just bring me the clients to fix that because you've been focused on your frustration, Gemini, and who can blame you? Your mercurial mind will do that, but your protection comes from your faith. So starting to say, I live in an area where when I walk outside, it's quiet. I can hear the birds chirping. Go big. Detail can mess you up and can put triggers. When you're manifesting about money, never talk about a number or money. Always use resources because Layla is telling you to focus on what you love and Spirit will bring that to you. Literally. And then your job will be to walk through it, like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect place. It's a little bit more than I thought I wanted to spend, but oh my gosh, when I first moved to Laguna, I thought to myself, oh, the rent is going to be expensive, but I'm never going to go anywhere. All I have to do is walk into town and there's entertainment. There's the beach. I felt like I would save money because I had so much access to things that I could just hang out, the free art fair and the farmer's market. There's so many things. So I feel like open it up, broaden it. The Hierophant is going to represent broadening your perception, using words that you can identify a more joyous energy coming up, vibration, using your curiosity. Jenny G, I think just people come in ebb and flow, I think it's really hard to stay in a routine and do the same thing every week. I know it's hard for me to even do this show every week. I've said to Small a couple times, thought about maybe not doing it. And then, we always default back to doing it because I really want to build a community. It's not about the numbers. It's about the vibration. Source, Abraham will say, one who is connected to Source is more powerful than millions who are not. And that's not just millions of people, that's millions of dollars. And I remember that when I feel small. because when I feel small is when I'm stuck in my humanness. So, I want to broaden all of us. And I'm really starting to I really starting to think I should be called a revolutionary astrologer, because I got very upset. I mean, emotionally upset, because a client called me in tears after a astrologer basically, you know, saw Saturn going through her seventh house and told her whole life was going to crack up and she was going to lose her marriage and all this terrible stuff. And that wasn't necessarily true at all. And then I don't know what happened, but a few weeks later, her and her husband decided to apply for a home show, because they're actually builders, and there's a lot in the chart that could really be an uplifting thing. But this guy went dark, and I want to change that. All right, on to our Cancers: rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Seven of Cups. This is one of those cards where when you look at it with your eyeballs, there's no good answer. Everything has its good news, its bad news, it's price to pay. And we see the character in the foreground. He's in the dark, because he cannot find an answer by looking at the situation. And sometimes, no matter, when you look at any situation, you can always extract something that would be good news, bad news. So this to me is an intuitive energy. It's like, I've got to go inside. That's where the Seven of Cups will find its balance. 7, Libra. And I want to say this as well, because as Pluto has opposed the sign of Cancer, and late degree Cancers have been feeling it the most lately, and they'll feel it a little bit more when we get into the fall and we go back into that Capricorn energy with Pluto for just another brief stint. This is just a revisit, because I think for my Cancers, one of the hardest things for you to do is to trust your intuitive body. You don't really have a strong protective shell. Yes, you have a shell, but the ocean is what really is going to dictate where you go when those tides come in. So that's why connecting with your deeper self, with your intuitive knowing, will provide the answers and which way the cups will fall. Here we go. Cancer, now that you've asked, the first angel is Fiona. Now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. The second is Isabella. Yes, the timing is right. Astera is saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. And Caressa is saying you're at the end of a life cycle. New happiness awaits you. I got to tell you, my face has had such a challenge the last few months. I bought some new lotions, and I don't know much about hydrochloric acid and all these anti-aging things, because I have Venus in Virgo, and I burned my face like 3 times in a row. I swear to God, I feel like that stoner poster from the 70s. My face keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that poster. It was a blacklight poster. Pretty funny. Fiona's being joined by the Death card, Cancer. That's transformation. Isabella is saying, yes, the timing is right. Something's shifting in the way you're thinking. Oh, the Raven is joining Astera, and the Butterfly is joining. All right, I want to offer this for my Cancers, because, I really know that Pluto transits aren't easy. And when you're sensitive like a Cancer, when you like to love on everybody and make everybody feel warm and fuzzy, sometimes, we forget how important it is to self-care. And that's part of what Cancer's energy is that self-care. So now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to this transformation. And this is a 10. This is actually a 46, which reduces down to a 10. There's been a transformation in your thoughts. There's been an awareness. Yes, the timing is right for this new venture. The hawk is offering you signs and omens that something is coming in, something is shifting. And I want to offer this too, because the hawk is an 11. And that's what I think Pluto has done most, is sort of put situations outside of you that illuminate how you feel about you on the inside. And if for some reason you felt like, well, if I don't take care of these people, or if I don't take care of my husband, I don't take care of my wife, my kids, or my job, then I'm going to lose. Something bad's going to happen. And Spirit's saying, no, that's not necessarily true. You've got to put the mask on you first, so that you have the energy, the time, the heart to do for others. Because Astera says, Reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. The timing is right for that, because that is one of the best ways, Cancer, that you can actually give to those that you love, is to reach for your own dreams, and in many ways giving them that permission to stretch for theirs. Because Caressa says you're blossoming. You are literally, you've transformed from the caterpillar into the butterfly, and now you're coming out and it's time to fly. And you may not know exactly which direction to go, but that's where you dig down to your heart and you're like, what feels like the most fun? I feel like this has something to do with, I want to offer this for my Cancers as well. This feels like, I just want to pull one more card and see like what genre this is, because there's a weird part of it that makes me feel like this is individualistic, but at the same time, I don't know that I'm creating something new. It could be something, let me look, that you've already been building on. Your truth. That's an interesting thing. I just want to offer this for my Cancers, because sometimes our deeper truth doesn't look cool to other people. Okay. And other people are something that Cancer focuses in on a lot. So I want to say this, because your inner truth could be so many things. I'm ready to start a family. I'm ready to not have a family. A deeper truth is anything. Pluto would have revealed a deeper truth through the opposition, through some sort of outside situation or influence that caused you to go deep within to discover what's important to you. Now is a time to start to capitalize on that. And that capitalization starts with your connection to spirit first. The transformation and the conversation. This is how it feels when I'm sitting in my truth. Because, you know, I want to offer it this way. I've never been big on money. I mean, I like money. Don't get me wrong. I spend a lot of it every day. I'm trying to be more of a saver, although that feels a little fear-based. But my point is this, is as I got older, I realized that money is just a resource for me to have time, for me to be able to do what I want, eat what I want, sit and watch TV, not watch TV. So I started to reevaluate what was important to me. And that might be what's coming up for you as well. And it's going to be an emotional journey for you. You can't see it with your eyes. All right, on to our Leos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. We have the Six of Pentacles. This is very much a have and have not card. And I want to offer this for my Leos, because when we look at the two people who are the beggars, we see that the one turning towards the benefactor has an orange tunic, orange clothing. We see the one who the benefactor is turned away from is in a blue tunic. The one who's in the orange is more connected to his desires, and he's been talking about it. I want this, I want this, I want this. And the one who is in the blue is more connected to his worry, and he's been saying that, the voice. And so when I look at this card and I see the scales of justice sitting over the character who feels like he may not get anything from this guy, I feel like he is focused on lack. So let's see where we're going with this, Leo. Because as especially early July, early July, Leos are going to feel the opposition to Pluto. And that Pluto's unearthing a deeper heart thing, okay? Pluto has, like, I think it's a 600 mile, don't quote me, I haven't watched Nova in a while, heart on the face of the planet. It's the planet that is the furthest out in the darkest part of the galaxy. It can't see. It has to trust its heart. All right, Bethany is about self-care. Archangel Uriel is about frustration and anger. Francesca is about focus on negativity. And Adriana is leading you to your desires and your dreams. Bethany is being joined by the horse. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the king. Francesca is being joined by the movement card. And Adriana is being joined by the queen. Okay, Leo, this is straight up. This is very much about focus. If we look at the Six of Pentacles and we call it a have or a have not card, can we really give the power of whether I receive or I don't outside of myself? Aren't I building in the earth? This is a focus card. The horse is giving you an opportunity to realign to your spiritual beliefs in many ways, to put your bounty up to spirit what you want. Let's say that you're a Leo who wants to uh, birth a more creative experience for yourself, and yet you need a job, you need to make money. This self-care card isn't about physical self-care, it's about your beliefs. Because we go back, and the guy that's not getting anything is the guy who's talking about his worry all the time. The blue, the guy who's getting something is more invested in what he wants, and there he finds the funding. Because the king is about justice, it's about balance. It's very Libran in many ways. And it's also, Archangel Uriel is about frustration. So frustration is the human not being able to see where what I want is coming from. And the king is saying, your frustration is blocking. It's blocking. Francesca talks about negativity and moving away from negativity within my focus. The final is Adriana saying she's leading you to the answers to your prayers. And part of your job is to be receptive. You've been taking action, as the king would indicate, but it's not getting you anywhere, Leo. This is about taking action in a receptive way. I receive what I want. I am the receiver of all the resources I need to move my story where I want it to go. Also, for some reason today, and I've seen this Six of Pentacles a lot recently, I'm noticing that the tunic is striped. It's striped with white and blue. And the big red jacket he has is like the base chakra. Somewhere, this benefactor is responding to the communication that is aligned to the light within. All right, my Leos, focusing in on what you want, not what you have. In many ways, recognizing your frustration is a block, or putting a cog in the system, slowing things down. And Pluto is going to reveal a deeper part of your heart over and over again as it goes through the sign of Aquarius. And I don't know that I want to, I don't want to live in fear of it. I want to embrace it. All right. If for some reason, I've been looking for a job because I need money to pay my bills and I'm not getting a job, then that job's not aligned to your heart. That job or that endeavor is not aligned to what's really going to make you feel expansive. So now we're having this sort of what they digging deep dive into what will make me happy. And as you start to focus on that, spirit will bring little things first, sort of maybe weird things, and you can notice how you're wobble in your own alignment. Because when you're really aligned, spirit just opens that door wide open. And it isn't hard to get in. All right. On to our Virgos, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Well, here's a powerful energy. Knight of Swords. All of the knights have a bit of fire to them. They're like teenagers in the deck. And here we see the fire of air. I could very much put this with Mercury and Mars traveling through Capricorn right now, taking no prisoners in the conversation that's being had. Let's see where we're going. Now we know that Saturn, let me take a little sip of my drink. People with North Node in Aquarius are going to be ravenous for their individuality. They're going to really want to express themselves. It would also put them with a South Node in Leo. That would make them being used to being, a Leo energy. And so that North Node is going to demand it. It also depends on the degree. Okay, here we go, Virgo, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. All right. Our first angel is Celeste, a new home or a new place of employment. Then we have Shanti, the angel of peace, Ariel, and Opal. This is for Virgo, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Celeste is being joined by the choice card, the mystery. Shanti's being joined by Bethany. And why did Bethany come out? I have no idea because it's the wrong deck, but we will keep it because it's important. Ariel is being joined by the frog, the sign of Virgo. That's so funny. Okay. And Opal's being joined by the love card. I say this because Bethany and Shanti coming out. Virgo, you rule other people, taking care of other people, service to other people. You rule health. And it's like your daily routines. So this is taking no prisoners for what you want. This is putting Mars and Mercury together and starting to talk and starting to this self-talk, okay? Because Celeste, and I can't help but think about you, Small, because here's this move to a new home, and then here is the mystery card, choosing the way I want it to look, choosing yourself, and knowing that you're creating a haven, a sanctuary. And I want to offer this isn't just for Small, but for all my Virgos in general, looking at how you run your everyday life. How do you want that to be? Because this night is a fiery air. And that means I want to be courageous in how I view things. I want to take that Arian, that Leo energy, and I want to be a leader in my life. But I start with my thoughts, because when you start to because this is where I'm going with this. Whatever the change that's coming up, because Jupiter and Uranus are going to bring a change, regardless, for all of us. It may be in our countries. It may feel like it doesn't directly affect us, but it will somehow through the ripple effect. And I think that Virgo, who is so dutiful to other people, putting yourself first could be now the greatest service you ever do, because you could be creating a sanctuary of a job, sanctuary of a home, a sanctuary of an environment. And as a result of that, you start displaying your Virgo energy in a new way that feels like it cleans up so much of the physical human experience as I connect more succinctly to who I am on a soul level. Because here is Opal saying that your children are safe in heaven and earth. This is your inner child. God is literally watching over you. And here is your opportunity to step into a greater environment of love, of feeling, I kind of picture it like this, because, I live in a beautiful place. If I look to the right, if I look to the left, it's literally a poop show. Okay. It's like Mario Andretti on steroids down a highway that they think is the Autobahn. And it's really only 2 lanes. And it's so disruptive. And when I think of the Virgo energy right now, I feel like I'm looking out, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my everyday, and I'm like, this is where I find my peace. This is my place. This is my sanctuary. This is my haven. And I feel like as you do that, as you nurture your inner child the way you would nurture other people or your employer or take care of other people, you're going to start to feel a shift that will give you more energy to be. So this is taking no prisoners for what you want. That's the way I'm putting it. Okay. Welcome, Stephen. Happy New Year. Long time no see. Okay, here we go. We are on to our Libras, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Okay. Let's see what our card is for our Libras. This is a card of worry, extreme worry. And yet when you look at all the swords, they're not only on the wall securely, they're interwoven. So they're not going anywhere. We also see that underneath this card, you can see there's like a war going on behind the scenes. It's like the unconscious. And yet the blanket that keeps this character warm is full of flowers, and the pillow is yellow. So somewhere this person is focused on all the most worst case scenarios. Let's see where we're going. South Node is going through Libra right now. So that can have an effect on your sense of self, your sense of South Node is a point where that the human calls erosive. But is it erosive, or is it tearing away the ego that is serving a story outside of myself? we think of Libra, it's the partnership house. So we want to be accommodating, right? We want to be a sign of cooperation, but is that cooperation really a two-way street? All right, here we go. Libra, our first angel is Sonia. The second is Archangel Gabriel. The third is Maya. And the final is Mystique. All right, here we go. Sonia is being joined by the Joy card. Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the Owl. Maya is being joined by the Hawk. And Mystique is being joined by the Focus card. Okay, Libra, I want to offer this because as a Libra rising, you can very much be focused in on how others perceive you, how you are seen, as a creative individual, as a partner, as a civil servant, really, because it rules policemen, etc. But I want to offer this because with Libra being signs of the scales of justice, right? Without realizing it, we put that in human justice. And if we look at things from a spiritual point of view, justice is very different. It's more contrast. It's more an experience that offers us a choice. So I think this card represents the choice of worry because he can't see with his eyes. Do you see how he's covering his eyes? So here, Sonia is your team of loved ones. And there's the Joy card. And the Joy is a 37. Which goes very much to how am I thinking? Do I really trust my own intention? Do I trust my own directive to my team? Because Archangel Gabriel is about communications, and then the Owl is about kind of going back and forth. And interestingly enough, the Owl is the nighttime totem for the daytime hawk. And here we see Maya and the hawk. And I kind of feel like with the 9 of Swords representing sleep time, that you can't see with your eyes. You're not going to be able to see Libra in the outside world right now. This is sort of trusting your team. Whatever intention you have out, whatever you're creating, whatever the South Node is in some ways requiring you to be egoless to sort of say, this is important to me. And even if you don't understand it or you don't agree it, I'm being compelled by my North Node in Aries in the 7th house and Chiron transiting there to blossom myself in some way, to individualize myself, to allow my creativity and my talents and my viewpoint to be expanded upon. That's what I think. That's what the Maya's schooling and education, seeing things from a broader perspective. And Archangel Gabriel here represents feeling insecure, talking in an insecure way, worrying about something. And the Owl is like kind of going back and forth with, oftentimes Libra, the dark spots illuminate something more powerful in where we want to go, because Mystique is telling Libra, you're coming out of the dark and you're going into the light. Victory is here. And then we see the Focus card. The victory comes from your awareness of your focus. And I want to offer this because you are in a human apparatus. Worry is part of that human apparatus. To try to resist it or release it when it's there is not going to serve you. But connecting with spirit and saying, I know I'm in my human body right now, and I know I feel a sense of worry. And while my soul tells me everything is okay, the human wants that validation in the physical, and it is coming. That's what I want to say. No need to worry. All right, let's go on to our Scorpio, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Good to see you, 145 Club. So glad everybody's creeping into the room, meandering in on a Sunday. All right, here we go. Yes, Uranus does rule the internet, and it just went direct, I think, yesterday. Okay, Scorpio. This is the Five of Pentacles. This is a challenging energy. I'm not going to say it isn't. But part of the challenge here is that these characters are so invested in whatever is creating lack or a lack of balance that they can't see the solution. It appears they're walking by a church somewhere where the five pentacles look lit up and warm. And yet the woman in bare feet has got her head down. All she can see is her own issues. And this little guy on the crutches, he can see that the church is there, but he's not stopping. He's following the energy in front of him. So let's see, Scorpio, what's going on. Because Pluto's starting to square you. And if you're a Scorpio rising, and that's when I want to go back to that Placidus thing, because when I look at Placidus and because I have a historic feeling of people coming to me for leadership, and yet when it doesn't serve them, they flick me off. So I feel invisible oftentimes and framed for being the hothead. So I want to offer this because Scorpio is intense and it's brooding and it's got, its own challenging dynamics. So if you're a Scorpio rising and you're in, let's say mid to late range, your first house is going to be very Sagittarian, which is going to really kind of calm that down, meaning the Scorpio intensity. So I want to encourage that because this feels to me a little like this is an emotional issue, not necessarily a physical issue. Let's see. Okay, here we go. First angel is Maya. The second is Chantal. The third is Omega. And the final is Yvonne. Maya's being joined by the spider. Chantal's being joined by the love card. Omega's being joined by the fire fairy. And Yvonne's being joined by the cow. Well, this is very interesting because it kind of is counterintuitive to this actual Five of Pentacles. So I want to offer this. Pluto coming into Aquarius is going to square Scorpio. Early born Scorpios will feel it first. If there is something that you have felt a loss, something's eroding, something's going away, it's going to bring more bounty on the backside of it. Because Maya is about schooling and education, and the spider is about relationships for me. When the fly gets into that web, it's a lifelong commitment. Now we see Chantal and the love card and the opportunity and the obstacle. And I almost wonder if that there, because I think Scorpio can be very polarizing. I think Scorpio sometimes can feel very like the planet Pluto out there in the solar system by itself with its heart all, kind of lonely. And at the same time, there's a feeling here of being more open, like rather than looking at where you've been hurt, opening up and feeling as if, all right, I'm just going to say it sort of plain. If for some reason you experienced a breakup or a divorce or a relationship that went awry, or you haven't had a relationship in a long time, there's a reason for that. And I think something better is coming in, because when I look at this, this is about how do you really need to be loved? Chantal is about love, seriously. And then there's the love card. There's victory and creative action in the form of fire. Mars is your co-ruling planet. And then we have Yvonne. This is about vulnerability to your own abundance and receiving. So I almost feel as if there's the potential for Scorpio right now that something negative could actually turn into a positive, but initially you won't see that, or it'll appear negative, but it really isn't. And for some reason, when I look at this, I feel like I'm talking to the Scorpios that have a primary first house of Sagittarius. I don't know why I'm putting it that way. I keep seeing Taylor Swift's chart in my head. Stephen, are you leaving us already? Wow. Okay. Bye, Stephen. See you later. All right, here we go, Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Betty, I got to tell you, that's what made it so powerful for me, because when I'm a 26-degree Aries rising. When I moved into Placidus, it made perfect sense. My whole first house is in the 12th house. And so often I have felt invisible or unseen. So I was like, wow, okay, that makes so much more sense. It also made sense why my Taurus energy made more sense to me that way too, because I really am emotionally very Taurian. All right, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Are we ready? Oh, the Queen of Cups is here. This is super nice. The Queen of Cups is all the queens, of course, have a feminine energy in here. We have feminine on feminine. We have a very intuitive, a very nurturing energy here, and almost an energy of beholding something. So let's see where we might be beholding something. Okay, here we go. This is for Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Chantal, the angel of love. The second is Ariel. The third is Archangel Raphael. And the final is Rosetta. Chantal is being joined by the dragon. Ariel is being joined by the owl. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the novice. And Rosetta is being joined by the love card. Okay, Sagittarius, this is very, very fun. When I look at this, well, I could potentially go to intimate love. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm looking at your ruling planet, Jupiter in Taurus, and I'm thinking, oh, this is about what you love. This is about what expressing you, expanding upon you, broadening you, using your skills. And I want to offer this because when I look at Rosetta, which represents teaching, parenting, and being with children, I kind of going back to that Jupiterian idea that it's not like I'm a school teacher, but I'm teaching because I'm allowing my heart and what I love to sort of lead the charge. When I look at the dragon here, this is kind of has a feeling of a calm, cool, collected sense of myself. I feel like, again, Chantal could refer to the love of someone else. But when I look at this spread, it feels very much about me. I don't see another character. I see I'm kind of calm about what's important to me. I'm calm about that. I want to start to build something that is authentic to what I want. Ariel talks about new spiritual experiences. And then we have this owl that goes back and forth. And I want to offer it this way because to me, it feels like spirit has been illuminating for my Sagittariuses to follow your heart a little bit more, to allow that which Sagittarius, again, is a natural teacher. So for some reason, if you are wanting to work with children or to birth something or teach astrology or teach something, there's an opportunity that's coming, but it's coming in a sort of way that feels like it comes from an emotional place. That's the way I want to put it. This Archangel Raphael feels like an epiphany that leads to actually more balance in my life and starting something new, skills without practice. And then we have Rosetta, which represents the child, and the love card. So there could be those of you that want to have a child. The Queen of Cups could infer that. You could be wanting to start a family, but more so, I think that this is about your inner child. It's about birthing something that you love and the beginning of that process. We watched Mercury retrograde in your first house over the galactic center We watched Venus go over the great attractor. And I think this might have been very illuminating for you in wanting to birth something where you bring more resources in through the things you have passion about. And I feel like the calming of the dragon is really about trusting it on an inner knowing. Like, I'm calm because I know this. It's all good. It's just a matter of time. And if for some reason, as I said earlier, you want to bring a child in, you could very well, now could be the time. And I say that because as a soul, now that we've had some planetary changes, the souls that are being conceived right now know the landscape that they're going to be walking through. And it's going to be very forward thinking. All right, let's go on to our Capricorns, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Hallelujah to Pluto leaving your first house. Okay, this is the 9 of Wands. This gentleman this is a card of protection, and he's protecting his home and his hearth. He's been through the wars. He knows the possibilities, and now he stays vigilant and alert. He has not forgotten. But does it serve him not to forget? Let's see. So I turned my phone off small, and I just got a text. Did you hear it? Did you hear the ding? Because now I'm really verklempt on how to stop. You did. Dang. All right. Capricorn, our first angel is Fiona. Now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. The second is Francesca. What do you desire right now? Focus on that. Maya is all about schooling and education. And then Aurora is saying you're flying high right now, and others will be inspired by your example. Oh, good. All right, Capricorn, Fiona is being joined by the movement card. Francesca is being joined by the Raven. Maya is being joined by Merlin. And Aurora is being joined by the Fear card. Well, this is very interesting because, we start off with this energy of a protective energy, sort of things aren't quite calm, but they're not chaotic yet either. Now, when we look at the Capricorn energy, we see that Mercury and Mars are traveling through Capricorn. Venus is there as well. Mercury and Mars on some level could very much bring, argumentative conversations, arguments with your siblings, arguments with your workmates. But that's when we're just looking at things from an earthly point of view. Because when we take this 9 of Wands and we say, all right, so he still has a guarded energy, but my awareness of being guarded gives me an opportunity to allow for some sort of illumination that allows for movement. And I don't know if the movement is outside, but rather inside. Capricorn sort of reframing what fear means, what trepidation means, what it means when I've gone to war or I've been in some sort of battle where I feel like I had to protect myself. What am I protecting myself from? Because Francesca says, what do you visualize right now? Negativity blocks your progress. And then there's the Raven. And that almost makes me feel like the Capricorn duty, the Capricorn obligation, the Capricorn, I have to be a leader for others to my own discomfort. And that obligation no longer serves the way that it used to. Because Maya is teaching you about balance and about alchemy. And, you naturally are an alchemist. You're a builder. You're ruled by Saturn. But what about the alchemy that we create for others? What about that? That duty creates something. Because Aurora is telling you that you are on many levels learning how to transform fear. So that turns into false evidence appearing real, face everything and rise, and also the awareness that when we feel fear and we have triumphed through that fear, it's the most invigorating and a powerful energy that I believe as a soul we can feel, because it's our own co-creation made manifest. So for my Capricorns, this might be a time when you're very aware of the energies around you. And while Mercury and Mars can represent parts of yourself, they may also represent other people. And in that awareness, you have an opportunity to show up with more intention, versus just an unconscious protection of yourself or defending of yourself. Okay, that's it for today. I'm trying to get down to an hour and a half. I did pretty good today. I want to thank everybody for joining. I want to thank Small Wildflowers always, because she's just, I can't do this without her, really. No, I really can't. And I want to just thank you all for being here. I'll be back next Sunday. I think we'll be in February. The year will be kicking off. We've got so much coming up that's powerful. We're heading into March is going to be wild, because we're going to start with our first eclipse. And so let's all prepare. First, we're going to prepare emotionally, then mentally, and together we'll be spiritually prepared. All right, everybody, sending lots of love to you. Peace out. See you on the flip side.